What's up, guys? Welcome to B Sports Picks. So yesterday we were on a 9-0 run. We still are because I did mention that I did like one of the plays, but I was not going to count it as one of my final plays. Even if it would have won, I would not have counted it as a win today. However, they did end up losing. The team that we went with was Boise State. They ended up losing by 4 points. So they didn't even cover and they lost the game. They were winning the game by 20 points. Then they just hit the brakes and shit the bed at the end of the day. They ended up losing the game. It is what it is. I showed all the reasoning why I thought that game was going to win and cover, but they didn't. So we move on. I'm going to tell you something that I normally don't talk about. This is going to be an extremely valuable video. I'm going to give you so many options that you can kind of pick and choose what you want to do. And I'm going to tell you the type of information that I get and how I get it and stuff like that. So please stay tuned to this video. This is going to be a very important video. It's something along the lines of how I train people. So I'm going to talk about that at the end also. Let me get right into it so you can start seeing what I'm talking about. I'm going to try to make this as short as possible, but I still want to pack in a ton of value. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you like this video and also make sure you subscribe. So one major thing I wanted to point out is that yesterday was one of the top liked videos ever in my YouTube history. So it's 243 likes. I really do very much appreciate that. And then we had 78 comments. So it was a very popular video. We did have lower views than other videos that I've had, but the engagement was incredible. So I really do appreciate you guys for that. We did actually end up hitting 4,000 yesterday. I thought we only needed about 10 people, but we actually needed 50. So when I was looking at it throughout the day, we ended up gaining 130 subscribers or something like that. So again, I really do appreciate you guys. That's the reason I'm gonna decided to give you guys a ton of value in this video today because of this reason. Please make sure you like and subscribe. So again, I'm gonna give you guys a ton of value in this video. I've already said that several times, and it's actually something I rarely talk about. So please make sure to stay tuned. So very quickly, like I said, I like to see what happened yesterday, and it just seems like they gave up yesterday. They were up by 20 points and they sort of just hit the brakes. And this guy right here, Maxi Vig, he literally said it exactly what I was thinking. It's like, damn, bro, they were up by 20. I thought they were gonna win for sure. I even stopped watching. So that's exactly how I felt. I saw that they were up by 20 points. I said, you know, hell yeah. And then all of a sudden, other team comes back and they end up losing. So anyways, it is what it is. All right, so again, let's get right into it. The straight value I'm gonna give you guys, it's a gift for today. I'm gonna tell you something about how I've been hitting a lot of these games, a lot of these numbers, and also give you the thought process. More than anything is the thought process behind how you're supposed to be looking at this as a professional if you're going to get serious about this information. So I basically call this thing called data stacking. I use a bunch of scrapers, and the SharpEdge tool is actually where I'm going to start posting this. This is what I decided yesterday. I have all this information. I use this information, and I actually have a ton of information inside the SharpEdge, which if you don't know what that is, I'll actually walk through it very quickly. But what I decided yesterday is I'm gonna actually start putting all this information that I'm pulling into the SharpEdge so that you guys can see it too. So if you haven't done so, make sure you go to the link in the description where it says SharpEdge, and then you get 2 weeks for free on that. I'm gonna start rolling out all this information I'm gonna start talking about right now is actually what I'm gonna start putting into the SharpEdge. All right, so one of the first things I want to mention is this Polymarket and something called Kalshi. If you don't know what this is, I'm not going to get into too much details, but basically it's just a betting platform that says you can kind of bet on anything. You can go on geopolitics, you can go on sports, crypto, finance, and basically you're just taking one side. So you can say, I'm gonna go with the Bucks to win versus the Timberwolves, for example, or you can say, President Trump's not going to make it to the end of his term, for example. So if you've not seen this, it's literally just a betting market and you can bet on anything. And I believe that you can pretty much do it from any state. So Polymarket, it's shut down for the US, but you can get a ton of information from there. Now the Kalshi here, I'm gonna give you guys a link in the comments, or actually just send me a text message and say, hey, I want the link. So this is the way I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna explain it here and then I'm gonna explain it at the end. But I'm going to tell you how powerful this is. I'm going to walk you through some stuff, and I'm going to give you a ton of information, like I said. So please bear with me. I'm going to get to a very strong point in this video. So this is where you want to text me if you want the affiliate link that would get paid a few bucks if you sign up through my link and you put in 25 bucks. I'm going to give you guys 1 week for free in the VIP. So basically you're getting 25 bucks into your Kalshi account then I'm going to give you guys 1 week for free. So if you want that, which all you need to do is send me a text message with that you deposited $25 and you use my link. Once you're inside your account, you just simply take a screenshot, send it here, and I'll give you guys 1 week for free. All right, so let me explain one very key point before I get started. If for me, I focus on the very important sports for me are important, which is NFL, NBA, NHL, college basketball, hockey, obviously, and then what's the other one? College football. So those are the ones I focus on. That's what I scrape for. That's the information that I have. I can literally scrape for anything I want, but to me, that's just a distraction. I learned a long time ago, the more you focus and the more you're interested, that's why I only do NBA videos, NFL videos. That's the reason, or even college basketball, is because you need to be focused and not just be splattered everywhere. All right, so now once I'm going to get into this, you're going to see basketball, college basketball, then you have all these other sports, as you know. I'm not going to get into all the details, like I said. So again, I'm just literally looking at college basketball, college football, NBA, NFL, and hockey. So, or I must have missed one there. But anyways, I look at those important sports that are important to me, the ones I'm keeping track of. Once I have these lines over here, I'm not going to get into how to use this stuff. I'm just going to give you the concept, the overall concept. And then I'm going to show you a couple of things that I don't think you've ever seen anywhere. So in the morning, I literally have a scraper that goes out and it goes onto Kalshi and it uses their proprietary information. And then I say, anything that has a 75% chance to hit, show me that information. And the way they do that is based on the odds. So you can see these odds are pretty heavy. 376, 376, 400, 471, and so on. This is today's games. This is today's date. Let me zoom in a little bit. So for this, you can see for today, there's 24 total picks. And like I said, this is literally just showing you the top plays on Kalshi right now. It ignores all the noise, and it just throws the number over here. So it'll say, look at this game right here, which is Riverside and San Diego. Total points, 75% chance that this is going to hit at a minus 300. Okay. And again, it's just based on odds. So over here, it says the under. I'm not going to go through every single one of these. I'm just going to try to explain it as best I can. So the under on the 159 for Idaho State versus Idaho, 79% chance. 79% chance, 80% chance, 82% chance, 82.5% chance of hitting. Okay, once you have all this information, this is only for the totals for today's games. Now I'm going to go very slowly here so you can take screenshots if you want, so you can check this out. This is a ton of value. This is actually for tomorrow's games. So it's telling you that Sacred Heart has a 76% chance of winning. Charlotte has a 78% chance of winning. These are for tomorrow's games, but then you get into today's games. You got St. Mary's, UC Irvine, UC San Diego, San Diego State, Arkansas, St. Thomas, Utah, Arizona, Tennessee, McNeese, and so on. You can take a screenshot if you want. I'm going to go slow here, and there's a ton of them. As you can see, there's 18 picks for today. Same thing with the totals. I'll go slowly. If you guys want this report, send me a text and say, hey, I'm interested in the report, or sign up for the SharpEdge. I'm going to start adding this information inside the SharpEdge. So you'll see these numbers, exactly what I'm looking at here, inside the SharpEdge. Look how many of this is. This is like 24 of them. So I'll keep going, and then I'm gonna actually explain why this is important. All right. So that's the information that I have for the scraper for Kalshi. And again, this is just because it's college basketball. That's the only one that's here. But if all the other sports were available, it would give me all the other sports right in this email. Now I have another scraper that goes out and searches different channels that I follow, different things that I do, and it literally gives me a full breakdown of all these games. So now, once you have all these lines, once you have all the overs that are very powerful, all the unders that are powerful, then you need the information. So we have a bunch of other scrapers that go out and start researching each of those strong games. We don't care about any of the other games. We only look at the strongest lines and stuff like that. So what I'm trying to explain here is we start stacking one thing on top of another. I've said this in several videos, but I want to explain that very clearly. We start stacking one information on top of another, and that's actually called correlation. So when you start getting all these correlation, everything starts matching. I'm not going to show that, but basically I have a bunch of AI information that goes out and tries to compile all this stuff. And then it says, okay, you have 5 things that are matching out of 7, or you have 4 things that are matching out of 6, and so on. So there's a bunch of data sets, and then it just tells you how many of those data sets is this play matching. So obviously, the more that it matches, the stronger that play is. It's also called implied probabilities. So in this example here, it's literally saying this is one of the best plays on the board. It's a -6.5 for St. John's. Okay, so now if I go back to my other scraper, you can see it's not even listed here. So that's already a mismatch. So again, I use AI to filter all this stuff, so I'm not looking at this all day. Otherwise, this would take literally all day. But all the scrapers actually work together, work on their own, and then they get merged together, and it tells me what's strong, what's not. So one other data set is this one here, which is the line move. Okay, so this is where it's telling you where the lines are going. So basically, where the public is pushing the lines, that's basically, where I should say is the sharp money is being pushed. That's actually the strong lean. Okay. So if you were to literally copy and paste this entire sheet, and then you literally copy the scraper information that I just showed, plus the Kalshi stuff, you already have 3 different data sets. And then it'll tell you like, okay, yes, this matches, this does not match, this is a strong play, this is not a strong play. And that's how I come up with a lot of this stuff. But I have a ton of other information too. So it's not just 3 data sets, it's literally like 15 data sets. I hope this is starting to make sense. So I'm going to give you an example. I have not ran it for today, the full data set, but what I will show you is the other day. Okay, so the other day you can see the Lakers and the Dallas. It's telling you that everything is matching as far as the line movement goes and the scraper information and all that stuff. So this is an AI called Claude, and I threw all that information into Claude. You can use ChatGPT or Gemini, whatever you want, and it'll just do all that math for you. Plus, it's a project, so it understands exactly what's going on. So it knows how to bring this exact same information every single time. But you have to feed it the information. So I was not planning on doing this. I was actually not going to show the slips or anything like that. But what I'm going to do for you guys, because we did cross 4,000 subscribers, I'm actually going to throw that out there in the free picks today. So if you're not signed up for the free picks, go to the link in the description where it says free picks. And then I'm going to give you the correlation of whatever shows up. If nothing shows up, I'll throw it out there and say, hey, nothing showed up. But again, these are not my final plays. This is just stuff that starts stacking together and it becomes a correlation. I hope that's making sense. I'm almost done. I hope you got some value out of that. Please ask me any questions that you have. I'll try to answer as many as I can in the comments. And again, the link is in the description. Go where it says free picks. Also, if you want to check out the VIP picks, it's right here. And also, I just added a Telegram. So this is just a channel that's a blast. So if I'm thinking of something or something is looking good, I'll throw it out instantly. You get it instantly, like a text message inside a Telegram. Also, the SharpEdge tool, that's the one I was talking about for 2 weeks. And then the next step I'm going to show you is this thing called Learn From Us. Okay. So I created this whole thing called Beast Sports Betting Systems. So this is actually hosted inside of School Community, and this actually goes through every single one of my foundational plays on how I come up with this stuff. So I explain in detail every one of my bets that I place on how I find those bets. So if you're really interested in getting this, if you're interested in taking your betting to the next level, this is where you want to be at. So the information that I talked about today, that's kind of the information that I explain in better detail and more information. Plus, you can message me on here and stuff like that. So you can see I got a ton of stuff in here. Other sports betting systems for the UFC, NHL, all that stuff. Then we got the NBA betting systems, the NFL betting systems, all the different tools that we use, baseball betting systems, bankroll management, and then just the foundations overall on how to stay in the game. So again, guys, if you're interested in any of that, if none of this makes sense, if you have questions, send me a text or leave a comment. I really would appreciate it if you can please subscribe, follow. I know there was a lot of information thrown at you in this informational video. I normally don't do this kind of stuff on YouTube, but I think if you guys enjoyed this, please comment and say, hey, I really enjoyed that. And then I'll start creating more videos like this, because when I started this career on TikTok, that's actually how I started. I was just throwing out a bunch of educational stuff. So if you guys are interested in that, please comment, let me know, please like. And your likes and comments actually mean a lot, because that's what tells me what kind of videos I should be throwing out. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate you. Let's get to 5,000 subscribers.